If you're craving sugar, snacks, or junk food at night, it's not because you lack discipline. It's because your breakfast is broken. And if you fix this one meal, you can genuinely stop those evening cravings without trying harder, without more willpower, and without cutting out food you actually enjoy. So in this video, I'm going to show you why your breakfast is causing your evening cravings, the simple rule that fixes it, and the 4 breakfasts I've eaten for years that take only 5 minutes each and have kept me at 10% body fat year round. I've been a personal trainer for over 11 years and delivered over 8,500 one-to-one sessions, and the clearest way I can show you why these breakfasts actually work starts with what most people actually eat in the morning. And to show you what's actually going wrong, I need to describe a morning that's probably going to sound very familiar. Most people either skip breakfast completely or grab something that feels healthy, like toast, cereal, maybe a smoothie with a bit of fruit in it, something light, something quick, something that doesn't feel like a big deal because you're not that hungry first thing in the morning anyway. Then a fairly light lunch, maybe a snack in the afternoon, dinner in the evening, and then 9 p.m. arrives, the kids are in bed, you're on the sofa, the Slack notifications have finally stopped, and something just clocks in your brain that wants to eat everything in the kitchen, whether it's chocolate, crisps, biscuits, whatever's there. And the genuinely frustrating thing is you've eaten reasonably well throughout the day. So why does this happen every single night? Well, here's what's actually going on, and it's not what most people think it is. And by the way, once the breakfast side is sorted, the thing that makes the biggest difference to actually getting lean is what's happening in the gym. And the Softer Lean program in the description is the exact training structure I'd pair with this. It's 4 weeks, 3 sessions a week, progressive overload built in, it's completely free, all in the description. So that 9 p.m. craving you have every single evening isn't a discipline problem, it's a fueling problem. Your body spent the whole day running on not enough protein, not enough to keep blood sugar stable, not enough to actually manage hunger properly. And by 9 p.m, it's doing everything it can to claw back what it didn't get earlier on in the day. The toast or cereal you had gave you a quick spike and dropped off again within an hour. The smoothie with no protein did exactly the same. And because neither of them hit anywhere near a decent protein target, your hunger has been slightly off all day without you even noticing, until you're standing in the kitchen at 9 p.m, opening the fridge and wondering why you can't stop raiding the cupboards to find something to eat. And here's the specific thing that fixes it. And it's one of the simplest rules I give every single client I work with. And they are rules I still follow after 14 years of training in the gym. So the first one is hit 30 grams of protein and at least 10 grams of fiber before 10 a.m. That's it. It sounds simple because it is, but here's why it actually works. Because understanding this is what makes you actually stick to it. And here's the bit that actually surprised me once I properly understood it. When you eat a high protein breakfast, the hormones that tell your brain you're full actually kick in properly, which doesn't happen the same way with carbs alone. Your blood sugar stays stable rather than spiking and crashing. And your body has what it actually needs to function properly rather than running on empty and compensating for it later in the day. And the fiber works alongside the protein too, which slows everything down, keeping you feel fuller for longer, stopping that mid-morning hunger that sends most people reaching for whatever's nearest. And here's the thing I've noticed with almost every client I've worked with who struggles with evening cravings. Once they actually fix the morning, not just add a little bit of protein, but properly hit their target, 9 p.m. problem completely disappears or stops being a big deal. And it's not because they suddenly found more willpower, it's because they stopped asking the body to run on empty for 16 hours and then wondering why it wanted everything in the kitchen at the end of the day. And here's the 4 ways I do this myself, and every single option is under 5 minutes. And every single one of these hits at least 30 grams of protein. So breakfast one is protein oats. This is the one I've eaten almost every single morning for about 5 years, and no exaggerating. It's oats, protein powder, and whatever fruit I've got in, usually berries or a banana for example, a spoonful of peanut butter, and a drizzle of honey. I also add creatine in there too, although obviously that's not essential, and a sprinkling of cinnamon for a bit of extra flavour. And the reason this is my default is that it takes about 2 minutes, hits around 40 grams of protein depending on the scoop, and keeps me full until well after lunch. The oats sort the fibre side without you having to think about it, and the whole thing genuinely tastes really good. And by the way, I use cookies and cream protein powder flavour just to make sure it is extra tasty, which is why I've been eating it for 5 years rather than something I got bored of after a week. If you train in the morning, this one works especially well too. The carbs from the oats give you the energy for the session, and the protein handles the recovery side. Okay, breakfast 2, eggs and vegetables. This is the one if you want something hot and a bit more substantial. 2 or 3 whole eggs, plus egg whites if you want to push the protein up a little bit more with whatever veg you've got in. So for example, as you can see on the screen, I add some peppers, but other times I'll have spinach, onions, tomatoes, pretty much whatever's in the fridge. Again, you can have this scrambled, you can have it in an omelette, whatever tickles your fancy. It all takes the same amount of time. It's around 5 minutes from start to finish. And this one works best for people who don't love sweet breakfasts. If the idea of oats or smoothies first thing doesn't appeal, this is the obvious go-to. You can also add things really easily if you want more calories, low-fat cheese, a bit of chicken, whatever fits your numbers for the day. Breakfast 3, Greek yogurt with protein powder and berries. This is genuinely the fastest option. We're talking about a minute, if that. Greek yogurt, a scoop of protein powder mixed in, and some berries on top. And Greek yogurt is already high in protein on its own, and make sure you get the 0% fat option. That does catch a lot of people out. Add that scoop, and you're easily hitting 40 to 50 grams before you've even had to cook anything. The berries sort the fibre side out as well, and this is the one to default to on mornings where you're genuinely stretched for time or just can't be bothered with anything that involves the hob. It also works well if you're not that hungry first thing, light enough that it doesn't feel like a massive meal, but substantial enough protein-wise to do the job. One thing worth flagging about this though, if the protein powder bloats you or you don't get on with it, skip it and use the Greek yogurt on its own with some cottage cheese or just more yogurt. The protein powder isn't the point necessarily, hitting the protein target is. And if none of those three work for your morning, here's the one with literally no excuses. So breakfast 4 is protein smoothies. This is the no excuses option, the one where you're literally walking out the door. Protein powder, frozen fruit, a handful of spinach, or some fruit, or if you don't want the greens, you don't need to add that. Add either almond milk or normal milk if you prefer it, blend it, put it in a bottle, drink it in the car, or on the way to wherever you're going. The spinach sounds like it shouldn't work in a smoothie, but you genuinely can't taste it if it's blended up properly. Again, it's not an essential, it just adds more fibre. And if you have a blender and 3 minutes, you have no reason to leave the house under fuel. That's genuinely it. And the training side of this is what actually turns the fuel into results. And the Softer Lean program in the description is the exact structure I use alongside this. It's built for people who don't want to spend 90 minutes in the gym 7 days a week. And here are the 3 things that come up every single time I talk about this, because they probably have come up for you already. So the first one is, what if I do intermittent fasting? You can, but here's the honest answer. If you're fasting and you're still struggling with evening cravings and fat loss has stalled, try this for 7 days and compare. Honestly, the evidence on intermittent fasting is pretty mixed, to say the least. And for a lot of people, the reason it stops working is exactly this. The underfueling in the window that they're eating and overcompensating later. If fasting is working for you, keep doing it. If it isn't, this is worth trying. What if I'm not hungry in the morning? That's actually the problem, not the solution. Not being hungry in the morning is usually a sign your body has adapted to under-eating early and compensate later on in the day, which is exactly what this cycle fixes. You don't have to start with a massive breakfast. Start with the yogurt option or the smoothie option, something small that hits the protein target without feeling like a full meal. The hunger in the morning comes back pretty quickly as well once you start feeling properly. And the last one is the one most people don't think to look at, which is, what if I still get cravings at night even after doing all this? Then look at lunch and dinner, specifically the protein across those meals. If breakfast is sorted but lunch is light and low protein, the same underfueling problem just shifts to later in the day. The 30 grams of protein target applies to every single meal, not just breakfast. Sort all 3 and the evening cravings almost always go. And the 9 p.m. moment isn't about discipline. It was never about discipline. It was about what happened or didn't happen at 7 a.m. Fix the morning, fix the evening. But here's where most people get caught out even once the breakfast is sorted. And it's got nothing to do with food. Even with the protein right and the calories sorted, there's something happening inside your training sessions that quietly limits how much of that deficit actually goes towards fat loss. Most people have no idea it's happening. And it's the difference between the results showing up in 8 weeks or dragging on for 6 months. I've got a video that covers exactly what that is and exactly how to fix it somewhere over here, so watch that next.